Maitland City Council meeting of August 25th, 2025. If you would, when you have something to report to us at the public period, fill out a speaker card at a time. I know we have several takers already. We're looking forward to that. But just helps us keep the record a little better and have people's name. Let's begin this evening with a short moment of silence and then pledge allegiance thereafter. Please join me in a moment of silence. Now, if you would please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Old business.
No, sir.
No old business. Mr. Anything? Okay. Next item is the consent agenda. Does anybody on council have anything to like to put on the consent agenda for discussion? None. Does anybody from the public have any comment on consent agenda items 2 through 7? Seeing none, let's close that public period. And there would be a motion to be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for August 25th, 2025.
Second.
Motion is second. Lori, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Councilmember Cheney.
Aye.
Councilmember French.
Aye.
Councilmember Randolph.
Aye.
Mayor Lowndes.
Aye. Okay, we've adopted the consent agenda, and now is the time for the public period where anybody from the public can come and address the council and your fellow residents. But I'll start with those who have provided a card. Mr. Herwig, Paul Herwig.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. We all know about, this, well, it would be easier to see it on here.
We're pretty familiar with the drill.
You pull this out, you put this here, that sort of thing happens like that. Okay.
Somebody's got to turn it on.
Something happens, I don't know.
It's magic.
Oh, is there any way to get what they have on the screen? Or?
Yeah, he's trying to get that camera going.
We didn't give him any warning.
I know. There should have been warning. I think it has to go. No, I think it goes that way for some unknown reason.
We'll just see.
You can just hold it up if this is too hard. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
The computer is being difficult. There it is. Okay. So, as you can see, Nicole Herwig, 1410 Druid Isle Road. I don't know if it's on. Nicole Herwig, 1410 Druid Isle Road. You've seen this graphic before. This is what we have spoken to our neighborhood about, and I've gotten input from everyone. And We're going to have more of these pages coming in. A lot of people are out of town or unavailable or they have kids and they can't come to these meetings. So we try to make sure everybody's involved and we have them print their names so that you can read them, and if you want to talk to any of these people at any point in time, you can. So we basically asked them, what do you think would be fair for this lot 6 at Trilago? And we talked about the different problems associated with it, and then we talked to everybody, and we came up with, this would be reasonable. And you've seen this before, and we just wanted you to see that our neighborhood is unified, and that's important. So that's all of my portion of this. There's more of this, and he's just going to give you a little synopsis. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you, Nicole Hurley.
Sure.
You saw the pages, so it's the whole neighborhood, and we're not even done yet. So we're trying to speak with a unified voice.
Just for the record,
1410 Druid Isle Road, Maitland, 32751.
Paul Hurley, right?
Paul Hurley. Yes. Some of you may remember the Trilago meetings that we've had way back when we were talking about the wetlands. And one of the things about the wetlands was, of course, there was that 1970 swimming pool that they wanted to build with this huge wall, and that went away. So now we went back to the 3-pond version, and I don't know, there's a lot of history. I don't know if any of you maybe remember, maybe you don't, I don't know. Some of you might, I know Vance does. And so then the road was going, it went around the wetland area, and the developer was dead set against guardrails. Why, I don't know. And apparently he wasn't aware of Chloe's law. Chloe died over by UCF in the retention pond, and we fought for those guardrails. And the reason we fought for them was common sense, and we didn't want to have deaths in our neighborhood. And so we fought for them, we thought, if this is a position the developer is taking, we have to take the correct high road, and so we fought for the guardrails. So now we need another type of set of guardrails. These are not guardrails around Lot 6 at Trilago, but what we want to have is some protection with your help, so that the developer respects our community, our neighborhood, and protects our homes and our neighborhoods. And as constituents, we need your help with the 2-story step-down concept of the townhouses, which was indicated here. And we also wanted to remind you of the true matter that the developer has said repeatedly that he was willing to install trees between the development that he's proposing in the preserve. And then I think it was Kathleen McIver on planning and zoning, and a few people in our neighborhood who spoke for the well-gated community around Lot 6. Should that be built to be similar to everything that's been done consistently before Trilago, around in the areas such as Montesino and Maitland Club and Red Faith condominiums. So anyway, now we need your help again to provide the guardrails, quote unquote, of another kind. So that's sort of a metaphor, and sorry for being so repetitive, but that seems to be a good way to try to make our point. If we can be relatively repetitive, then you'll perhaps that we're serious. But anyway, that's about all I had to say. It was just it seemed like it was a pretty good comparison to require guardrails. We're looking for guardrails again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hurwitz.
You're welcome.
All right. Our next speaker is Mr. Dabby. Michael Dabby.
you, and good evening, City Council, Manager, Councilor, City Clerk. Michael Dabby, 605 Woodwood Lane, Grove Street area. This is an issue that I'm going to ask for some help, but I know it's not something that the city has direct purview over. It happens to deal with the railroad tracks at Lake Avenue. About a year ago or so, I started calling CSX, or rather Sunrail, in regards to how rough those tracks were. There was a board that was coming up every time we went over the tracks. They finally got around to fixing it about, and I use the word fix very loosely, about 2 months ago. It's actually worse now in terms of how smooth it is. And smooth is a relative word, I understand. It is actually hard now. You practically have to stop to go over the railroad tracks. If you don't, you risk damaging your suspension, as I think I did the first day I went over there. And it has become a safety hazard, not only for how rough it is, but also looking out for behind. So you slow down quite a bit in advance, and people are starting to speed up coming off of 1792 or from the apartments there. And it's a real problem. If you haven't driven it, I encourage you, please drive over it. And be very careful when you do. You might want to do it when it's not trafficky, because you risk getting hit from behind. So what I'm asking you to do is partner as a government agency to another semi-government agency with Sunrail and get them to fix that thing so it is actually reasonable to drive over it. I'm not asking for something that's slick and glass, but now it's to the point like it's going over potholes on both sides of the tracks. So that's all I'm asking is please, call them, partner with them, do what's necessary to get that thing and alleviate the safety concerns that we have. I could have brought a whole bunch of people out here tonight, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I can get petitions if you feel that it's necessary, but I encourage people to call Sunrail, but Sunrail doesn't even respond when we do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dabby. It's good to see you again. And we'll see what we can do with Sunrail. As you know, we deal with Sunrail, we deal with FDOT, we deal with Duke Energy, we deal with varying degrees of success or response. But I appreciate your taking time to come out there.
Thank you.
Right. Eileen Trogger. Yes. Did I get that right? Is it Eileen or Eileen?
Trogger.
Trogger.
This is my first meeting, and I'm here because I live at 863 Creston Drive, and that is the Maitland Club. And I exit my neighborhood every morning to take my 2 children to school, and I'm tired of seeing cars driving in the opposite direction, making illegal U-turns on Wymore. I understand that we have schools and that there's traffic at that hour, and I am more than understanding. I have 2 children of my own that I take to school. I just don't think that I should fear for the safety of myself or my children when I'm attempting to make a left turn out of my neighborhood. And I would say this is just a morning thing, but it's not. It's an afternoon thing. I've gone as far as to video cars on Wymore and on Oromo during peak traffic times of school, whether that's 7:30 to 8:05, and then in the afternoon I would say it's anytime between 2:30 and 3:05. And all my videos are when I'm a passenger, not a driver, but there are cars coming out of the backup traffic and going in the opposite direction to bypass the traffic, to make their left or to make their right. You've got kids biking home from school, you've got kids walking, you've got parents like me with kids in the back seat trying to get home, and I have to worry about other cars breaking the law. So I've taken it upon myself, and I call the City of Maitland Police Department in the mornings and in the afternoons, and I let them know, hey, there's reckless driving here, it's really backed up, I get it, people are frustrated, but if they're not willing to abide by the laws, then I think police should come out and parole and see what's going on out here. And they've been really responsive. I really have to say thank you to the police department, because every time I call, they send a cop car out to the intersection and they do what they can. But I also know that I'm one neighborhood in the city and that they can't sit outside of our neighborhood every day floating traffic. But it's a big concern. We have way too many cars using that road. And I know it must go on I-4, but the safety is my biggest concern. Traveling too fast and many things that you shouldn't do, and primarily happens at those hours. And so that's why I'm here, because I think that aside from calling the police department, I feel like this is like my next step to let my local city council know that this is happening. It's happening on a daily basis. This is my third year in the neighborhood. I didn't say anything the first year because I was like, oh, I'm new to the city. I had just moved to Maitland from Winter Park. And so I kind of said, I'm sure this will like work itself out, but it's just gotten substantially worse last year and now this year. And so here I am. I thought it would work itself out, but it's not. And I plan to be here till I retire. And so I'd like it to be a safe area to raise my children and to commute safely. And I just don't feel that that's happening right now in my home.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Collier. And we will discuss that with the city manager and the police and see what if anything can be done. Jennifer Locke.
Good evening. Thank you, council members and mayor and city staff as well. I'm going to be echoing a little bit of what Eileen Trauger said. I come to you as a resident from the Maitland Club neighborhood. My name is Jen Locke. I'm at 1920 Belford Court. And I also want to express some concerns about the serious, ongoing, and recurring traffic issues and safety issues stemming from the Orangewood Christian School that is located just down the road. Since the school began and in previous years, and now expanded its operations, we have experienced severe traffic congestion during both morning and afternoon drop-off and pickup times, respectively. Blocked intersections outside of our neighborhood. As Eileen mentioned, it's becoming very dangerous for us to exit and enter the neighborhood, making it, safety really challenging. There's been reckless driving, including illegal U-turns and vehicles that try to bypass the car line issue that they have, going in the wrong direction, and then the frequent need for Maitland police to be there to help mitigate that safety issue for us, because that's really, we don't know what else to do right now. So basically traffic routinely backs up from Rhineville Road at Ornall all the way back to Hope Road on some days, making what should be a simple 1-minute drive into sometimes a 25-minute unsafe ordeal, if you're lucky, if you're moving. To make the situation worse, another private church school nearby, St. Anthony's, began operations this year, which will further exacerbate the existing conditions in this area. So despite repeated efforts by residents to engage directly with Orangewood School, which has included our HOA's attorney as well, no meaningful improvements have been made, and traffic and safety conditions have worsened this year. We know there might be slight improvements as the school year goes on and people have different afternoon activities that can lessen the traffic, but the problem persists year after year. We also recognize that this is a really challenging area, so we want to emphasize that and not ignore it, that there is a unique jurisdictional overlap that continues to stall our progress. Our neighborhood is located in Maitland city limits. The road and where the school is in Orange County. And the primary, our road is in Orange County. The primary intersection affected is in Seminole County, hence the Ornall Road there. So this fragmented structure has created an accountability gap where it seems like no single entity is willing to take responsibility, leaving our community stuck in a dangerous and deteriorating situation. Meanwhile, we continue to have increases in our property taxes with no improvement to this infrastructure or enforcement that could alleviate the problem. In light of these serious and ongoing concerns, we would like to formally request, and I can send this cheat sheet that I have here to an email to the city, a copy of the original traffic impact analysis conducted as part of Orangewood Private Schools development and operational approval. And we resent our current traffic studies to mitigate plans related to the school or the impacted roadways. A summary of required or proposed mitigation measures tied to the school's approval and whether they've been implemented or enforced, and immediate assistance in initiating a cross-jurisdictional response to identify and implement enforceable long-term solutions. This is not simply an inconvenience, which it is, but it's become a risky safety issue in the area. So we thank you for your time and listening to that and considering our concerns and helping us move this issue to a solution phase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Locke. All right. Do we have any other speakers this evening? Okay, well, we will, I and the other council members will take this all under advisement and speak to staff and see what measures can be taken to resolve all the issues we've heard tonight. But thank you all for coming out and taking time to speak to us. Okay, we are on to reports.
Well, I would like just to comment, if that's okay.
Yeah.
One is, just so you all two know, I live right behind you. I live off Southview, that runs along your back wall. And I moved it there in 2006. And yes, that has been a problem forever and ever and ever. And you just know that, you know, you don't come up that way between 2:30, you know? And it backs up all the way from Oradell and Wymore all the way to the overpass down the road. So it really backs up and people get a little antsy and they just try to look for a shortcut and try and, you know, like, oh, I gotta be somewhere. So they do all these different things. I think it is worth a good conversation in that, you know, maybe we can do something and that would be good. You know, the ingress, I mean, the egress there is pretty bad. The ingress is pretty easy, but, you know, leaving there, it could be a challenge during those times in the morning and afternoon. So, yeah, I think we should really look into that. And to what Mr. Dabby says, and I was thinking that should be pretty easy. We could just send one of our engineers out there, correct? Just kind of do a view and see.
That won't be necessary. The railroad's aware of it, and they attempted a fix of it already. They're going to be back out tomorrow night.
We'll be back tomorrow. Oh, awesome. Yeah, but I did just want to make one thing clear, that we have only done one tax increase in 5 years. So we're not doing tax increase. Yeah, if you got higher taxes, that's because your property is more valuable, so that's a good thing. Yeah, but that's it. I would like to see something done out there also.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay. All right, then reports. Mr. City Attorney, anything?
Nothing, sir.
Go ahead. Mr. City Manager?
No, sir.
Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Doretta?
Not for me.
Scott Crunch? All right.
I have a quick, oh, sorry.
We've heard enough from you.
I know, right? I'm the chatterbox. You good?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Cliff something real quick. Lake County is looking to bring a lawsuit against the state on SB 180.
That's a mistake, but yes, they are. It's a mistake because there's a better approach. They're not the only ones. I think I sent it to Mark, the proposal we got from lawyer Jamie Cole. He's the same lawyer who you might have remembered tried to deal with the lawsuit for firearm preemption and regulation and other things. Sort of has become his deal. But the approach that I think has got more likelihood of success is one that's being taken by Volusia County, and their county attorney, Mike Dyer, is proposing some strike-throughs to the legislation as it exists, or actually maybe some additions, so that wherever it talks about those things that are so problematic, you can't have moratoriums, you can't make it more burdensome, whatever it is, the wording is, the qualifying language is, if you were impacted by the storms that are the subject of the bill. Because the problem with those provisions is there's no qualifier. So basically you could have had completely unscathed, and that you get all of these protections that really are supposed to be designed to help properties and property owners who are impacted by the storm, when we all know that many were not. And so I think that possibility has a chance of success. But I think the lawsuit, which we can do, I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to, because it's a relatively cheap date to join that lawsuit, but I wouldn't expect it to be greatly successful, because it will ultimately end up in the Florida Supreme Court. And I will just point out to you that the record of Mr. DeSantis in front of the Supreme Court that he handpicked is pretty doggone good.
And we don't need to bring any extra attention to ourselves. Stay a little quiet, Maitland. Thank you, Cliff.
Anything else?